The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
सर्वेभ्यः नमस्काराः। सिद्धान्तकौमुद्याः स्त्रीप्रत्ययप्रकरणे चतुर्थः पाठः। अक्टोबर् मासस्य 23 दिनाङ्कः। येनाक्षरसमां न्यायम् अधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तिः परिभाव्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीयं विरच्यते। सिद्धान्तकौमुद्यां स्त्रीप्रत्ययप्रकरणे नीविधायकानि सूत्राणि अधीयन्ते। स्त्रीप्रत्ययप्रकरणम् आरब्धं ताप् विधायकेन सूत्रेण। एकमेव सूत्रमस्ति अजाद्यतश्ताप्। ततः रन्नेभ्यो ङीप् गीतश्च वनोरच इति त्रीणि सूत्राणि। तैः ङीप् प्रत्ययः विहितः। रन्नेभ्यो ङीप् इत्यनेन ऋकारान्तेभ्यः नकारान्तेभ्यश्च ङीप् विहितः। उगितश्च इत्यनेन उगिदन्तात् प्रातिपदिकात् ङीप् विहितः। वनोरच सूत्रेण वन्नन्तात् तदन्तात् च प्रातिपदिकात् ङीप् विहितः। प्रातिपदिकस्य च रेफः अन्तादेशः कृतः। ततः पादोन्यतरस्यां तावृति इति सूत्रद्वयम्। कृतसमासान्तस्य पादशब्दस्य ङीप् विकल्पेन विधीयते पादोन्यतरस्याम् इत्यनेन। तत्रैव यदि सः शब्दः ऋग्वाच्यः तर्हि ताप् भवति इति तावृति इति सूत्रेण विहितम्। इदानीम् अग्रिमं सूत्रमस्ति तस्मिन् पादे। सर्वाणि स्त्रीप्रत्ययविधायकानि सूत्राणि अष्टाध्याय्याः चतुर्थाध्याये प्रथमपादे सन्ति। अत्र दशमं सूत्रमस्ति न षट्सहस्रादिभ्यः न षट्सहस्रादिभ्यः इति पदच्छेदः। अजाद्यतश्टाप् इत्यतः टाप् इति विधि अनुवर्तते। रन्नेभ्यो ङीप् इत्यतः ङीप् इत्यपि अनुवर्तते। इदं निषेधसूत्रम्। As you can see from the na, it says no tap or no ङीप्. Idam sutram purvameva adhitam. You already studied this in Ajanta Pullinga Prakaranam or Ajanta Strilinga. I'm not sure. Na shat sasradibhyah. He repeats it here because of the context. षट् संज्ञकेभ्यः स्वस्रादिभ्यश्च ङीप् टापौ न स्तः. So for words which have the षट् संज्ञा or for the swasradi, that is words which belong to the swasradi class, there is neither ङीप् nor tap. So षट् संज्ञा विधीयते श्नान्ता षट् इति सूत्रेण। षकारान्ता नकारान्ता च संख्या षट् संज्ञा स्यात्. So a number which ends either in shakara or nakara. Like you have shashu, you have panchan, saptan, ashtan, navan, dashan. All these are called shat. So these words will not have ङीप् or tap. That is why starting from pancha, there is no linga bheda. That is pullinga or strillinga, you have the same form. So that is about the shat samya. And then you have swasradigana. The swasradigana contains 7 words. Swasa, tisrash, chatusrash, nananda, duhita, tatha, yata, matedi, saptaite, swasradaya udahritaha, iti karika. So these are all rikaranta words. Swasru, tisru, chatasru, nanandru, duhitru, yatru, matru. 7 rikarantas. Swasru is sister, tisru is 3 in feminine, chatasru is 4 in feminine, nanandru sister-in-law, that is not sister-in-law, is husband's sister is Nanandru, Duhitru is daughter, Yatru is co-sister, that is the wife of husband's brother, and Matru is mother. So these 7 will not have any Stree Pratyaya, that is because they are all Rikarantas. Rikarantatvat Runebhyo Neep iti Neep Pratyayah Praptaha Neep na bhavati. Anta sarve Rikarantaha eva bhavanti ityartha. Evam षट्संज्ञकेषु अपि न भवति इत्यर्थः. So pancha iti षट्संज्ञायाः उदाहरणं, चतस्रः इति स्वस्रादीनां उदाहरणम्. पंच इत्यत्र नलोपे कृते अपि श्नान्ताषट् इति षट्संज्ञां प्रति नलोपस्तुस्वरसंज्ञात् द्विधिषु कृति इति नलोपस्य असिद्धत्वात् न षट्स्वस्रादिभ्यः इति न टाप्. अत्र एकः प्रश्नः उदेति, टापः निषेधः कुतः? नीपः निषेधः विहितः. In the previous one, किमुच्यते न षट्स्वस्रादिभ्यः इत्यनेन नीप् टापो न स्तः इति विधीयते. स्वस्रादिगणे सर्वेषां शब्दानां नीप् प्राप्तं, नीप् प्रत्ययः प्राप्तः. So you would have got नीप् by ननेभ्यो नीप्, so it is being negated. When you come to shat samya, there is the word shat, which will not have any pratyaya because it is a shakaranta. And the other words are all nakarantas, panchan, navan, dasan, etc. So for them, again, runebhyo neep ityanena neep prapnoti. Then neepah nishedhena alam, tapah nishedhah kutaha. Why would you want to prevent tap? Because there is no tap being added to any of these. I mean, there is no opportunity for adding tap to any of these because none of them is akaranta. स्वकारान्तानामेव टाप् प्रत्ययः भवति. अत्र अकारान्ता शब्दाः केऽपि न सन्ति. किमर्थं टाप् निषेधः? Why should we say टाप् न भवति, नीप् न भवति इति चेत् अलं वा इति प्रश्नः. अतः उच्यते पञ्च इत्यत्र नलोपे कृतेऽपि इत्यादिना. पञ्च इत्यत्र कथं प्रक्रिया? पञ्चन् इति नकारान्तं प्रातिपदिकम्. किमस्ति? अस्यां दशायां नकारान्तत्वात् नीप् प्राप्नोति. ऋणेभ्यो नीप् इत्यनेन नीपः प्राप्तिः अस्ति. तथैव नकारान्तसङ्ख्या अस्ति. सो नकारान्तसङ्ख्यात्वात् श्नान्ताषट् इत्यनेन षट् संज्ञा अस्ति. न षट्सूत्रादिभ्यः इत्यनेन नीप् निषिध्यते. So neep is prevented here because it has shat samya being nakaranta. Now we add just wait. Pancha is a panchan is a nitya bahuvachananta shabda. So we add prathama bahuvachane just pratyayah. Just pratyayasya shadbhyo luk ityanena luk bhavati. Panchan ityasti. Nalopah pratipadikantasya ityanena nakarah lukyate. Idanim akarantatvam asti. Pancha ityatra. Akarantatvat tapah praptihi asti. Nakarantatvam nasti ityatah षट् संज्ञा tu nasti. So now because it is akaranta, we can add tap by agadita tap, and there is no षट् संज्ञा because it is not an akaranta. नान्तत्वाभावेन षट् संज्ञा नास्ति. तथा चेत् नान्तत्वाभावेन षट् संज्ञायाः अप्रवृत्तौ न षट्सहस्रादिभ्यः इति निषेधः न स्यात्. Even if you include neep tapo nastaha. So the point he makes is the tap is included to prevent adding tap at this stage. After we remove the nakara by nalopa pratipadikantasya, it becomes akaranta. Akarantatve sati tap nasyat ityetadartham neep tapo nastaha iti tapah nishedhah kritaha iti uttaram. Kintu तथा टापः निषेधे कृते अपि अत्र टाप् निवारयितुं न शक्यः. किमर्थम्? इदानीं षट् संज्ञा एव नास्ति. Even if you include tap in the sutrartha, that is, you take tap by anuvritti and include it, you cannot prevent tap here because since it is not a nakaranta now, there is no shat samya. If there is no shat samya, the shat sasradibhya will not apply, even if you include tap. Nantatva bhavena shat samyaha apravrittau न षट् सस्रादिभ्यः इति निषेधः न स्यात्. अतः उच्यते मूले किमुक्तं पञ्च इत्यत्र नलोपे कृते अपि श्नान्ता षट् इति षट्संज्ञां प्रति नलोपस्तुप्संज्ञातु गुहिषु कृति इति नलोपस्य सिद्धत्वात्. Then he says true, but nalopah pratipadikantasya is in the Tripadi 8 to 7. अष्टमाध्यायस्य द्वितीयपादस्य सप्तमं सूत्रं नलोपस्य असिद्धत्वात् षट्संज्ञा भवति. So even at this stage, even after we remove nakara by nalopah pratipadikantasya, षट्संज्ञां प्रति नलोपस्य असिद्धत्वात्. Since the nalopa is asiddha for षट्संज्ञा, there is षट्संज्ञा even at this stage. न षट्सस्रादिभ्यः इति निषेधः भवति इति उत्तरम्. There is one more question here. So if we are taking asiddhatva, this nalopah pratipadikantasya should be asiddha even for tap, right? Ajarjatastap iti tap vidhayakam sutram prati api nalopah asiddhah. Yadi nalopah asiddhah, tarhi tapah praptireva nasti, tap nishedhah kutah iti punah prashnah. So if we are saying nalopa is asiddha and therefore there is shat samya and we can use nashat sasradibhyah, this nalopa is asiddha even for tap. Yatohi tap vidhayakam sutram api sapara saptadhyayam asti. Tarhi tapah praptireva nasti. If nalopa is asiddha, we cannot have tap because it is not akaranta. So kimartham tap nishedhah iti chete sutram uttam nalopah tup swara samya tug vidhishu kriti iti sutram asti. Purvatra siddham iti tripadyaha prasamam sutram नलोपस्तुप्स्वर संज्ञातु गुहिषु कृति इति द्वितीयं सूत्रं. किमुच्यते नलोपः असिद्धः. कुत्र असिद्धः? तुग्विधौ असिद्धः, स्वरविधौ असिद्धः, संज्ञाविधौ असिद्धः, कृतितुग्विधौ असिद्धः. Nalopa is asiddha only in these four cases. If it is a tugvidhi, swaravidhi, samyavidhi or krititugvidhi. Okay? So in all other cases nalopa is not asiddha. So now for shat samya, that is for shnanta shat, nalopa is asiddha. Ataha nalope krite api shat samya bhavati. Kintu ajadjata shtap iti na samya vidhi. Tap is not none of these. It is not a tugvidhi, not a swara vidhi, not samya vidhi and not kriti tugvidhi. So ajadjata shtap iti sutram prati nalopaha siddhaha. Nalopaha siddhaha ityukte akarantatva tap prapnoti. षट्संज्ञां प्रति नलोपः असिद्धः इत्यतः षट्संज्ञा अपि प्राप्नोति. षट्संज्ञायाः सत्त्वात् न षट्सस्रादिभ्यः इति निषेधः करणीयः. तदर्थं सूत्रार्थे नीप्तापौ न स्तः इति उक्तम्. पञ्च इत्यत्र नलोपे कृते अपि श्नान्ता षट् इति षट्संज्ञां प्रति नलोपस्तुप्स्वरसंज्ञा तुग्विधिषु प्रति इति नलोपस्य असिद्धत्वात् न षट्सस्रादिभ्यः इति न ताप ताप प्रत्ययः न भवति. ताप प्रत्ययः प्राप्नोति. ताप प्रत्ययस्य प्राप्तिः अस्ति न षट्सस्रादिभ्यः इत्यनेन निषिध्यते.
I don't see any hand raising, but I do have maybe a comment or a question maybe. So this is applicable only for the yathodesha paksha, right? If you take the karyakala paksha, this will not apply.
Yes, karyakala paksha.
Sankhya is not. Sankhya is 8-2, and yathodha because this thing is shnanta shat is the beginning. So only yathodesha paksha it will apply. I think Bhashyakara says. I think he expressed. That's why I think somewhere in Bhashya he says that for the sup sankhya, he doesn't consider this as an example of sankhya vidau. He says ghee is a sankhya. He gives example of that. For this, I think he uses like sup and he expands that pakara to angi chop. He says if you include that, then this will be asiddha. I mean, he takes it that way. But again, he comes into some other problem with the charmin and stuff like that. But I think somewhere in Balamanoram also he mentions that this is only using the Yathodasha Paksha.
Yes, because in Karakala Paksha, we treat samyas and paribhashas as siddha.
Right.
Because it will apply wherever the goes. So,
because once you become pancha, then how can it be a shat again? So it becomes like a sanipata kind of thing, right? Because the panchan is shat. Pancha is not shat. So then how does it, the sankhya, so sankhya cannot be, then it is not a shat sankhya at all then.
yes, so that is, that depends. I mean, we have to accept Yathodesha Paksha and Karakala Paksha in many cases. I mean, there is no other way in some cases. So yes, it should be. Siddha. Yes. I didn't read up this particular argument in the Balamanoram, but yeah, this would not probably apply in the Karakala Paksha.
I think Bhashyakara elaborates very elaborately on this particular thing in the, so yeah, this is like for them, this is like a very juicy matter, I think.
Yes, sir. Sometimes if you get into that bhashya, get sucked into it, he'll hardly find a way to come out. Like,
so that's why he takes Supvidhi and he says Angi Chapah. So he expands till 73104. Then he says in that case you don't have to use Sankhya. So you are coming out of that problem. But he again comes into some other problem in that. He says charmin or something, bahu charmin or something, he gets into some other problem.
Okay. Yes, I would like to read this up. Sounds interesting. Let us see. Anyway, this is what Dikshita's Siddhanta is. He accepts Yathodesha Paksha and he says, uses this logic to say why tap nishedha is needed and how it will work. So that is about Nashatsasvaribhyah. Agre Manaha iti sutramasti. एकमेव पदमस्ति भिन्नेभ्यो ङीप् इत्यतः ङीप् इति अनुवर्तते न षट्सुत्रादिभ्यः इत्यतः न इत्यपि अनुवर्तते मन्नन्तात् न ङीप् अयमपि ङीप् निषेधात्मकं सूत्रं so again you are getting न from न षट्सुत्रादिभ्यः so manaha mannantat ङीप् there is a man pratyaya so for words which end in man we will not have ङीप्. Neep would have been added by Rinebhyo Neep, since this is Nakaranta, so it is Neep. Sima, Simanau, iti udaharanam dattam. If you look at the Vyakhyana for that Sima, She Bandhane, Aunadikaha, Manin Pratyaya. So for the She Dhatu, we add a Manin Pratyaya, which is an Unadi Pratyaya. Sachatehe Dirghashya. So it was Si, it becomes Si Man. Si Man iti Nakarantam Pratipadikam. Si Man Shabdati Niti Nishidhe. So the Neep has been negated here, that there is no Neep. Neepi Nishidhe, Rajavad Rupam. So the forms will be like Rajan, Sima, Simano, Simanaha, etc. Neepi Satitu. Allope, Simni iti syad iti bhavaha. So what would have happened if we had neep? There would have been Siman E, Allopo naha etyanena, Akarasya lope krute, Simni iti rupam syat. Kintu tan nabhavati, Sima ityeva rupam strilinge api. Nanu vakshyamana dapi Simeti sau rupasiddhehe kim gim nishedhena ityaha Simanau. So the Simano, he gives the second, he should have just said Sima. Why does he give Simano? Is to indicate that this is a Nakaranta. Okay, Raja, Rajano, because this Sima can also be an Akaranta word, like Rama. So that will also happen because there is a sutra later on which gives Dap, the suffix Dap for this. So in whether it is Dap or no Pratyaya, that is even if it is nakaranta or akaranta, प्रथमैकवचने सीमा इत्येव रूपं स्यात् अत एव द्वितीयं रूपं दीयते सीमानौ इदं नकारान्तम् इति द्योतयितुं तदुदाहरणं सीमा सीमानौ इति अग्रिमं सूत्रमस्ति अनो बहुव्रीहेः इति अनः बहुव्रीहेः इति छेदः द्वे पदे स्तः पुनः नीप् इति अनुवर्तते न इत्यपि अनुवर्तते नीप् न भवति अन्नन्ताद् बहुव्रीहेः न नीप् बहुव्रीहिसमासः अन् अन्तः अस्ति चेत् नीप् प्रत्ययः न भवति बहुयज्वा बहुयज्वानौ यज्वन् इति शब्दः अन्ते अन् इति श्रूयते so we have an an at the end of बहुव्रीहि बहवः यज्वानः यस्यासा or yasyamsa. So you have bahu yajvan. Again, rinebhyo neep is prevented by ano bahuvrihe. So you have forms like yajvan in pullinga. Yajva, yajvano, yajvanaha iti vate. Bahu yajva, bahu yajvano, bahu yajvanaha iti nakarantasya rupani. नाम उभाभ्याम अन्यतरस्याम इति अग्रिमं सूत्रम्. त्रीणि पदानि सन्ति. दाप उभाभ्याम अन्यतरस्याम. This is the third Stree pratyaya that we are studying. This is dap. The first we studied tap, then we came with neep. So neep will actually continue later. So in between he has introduced another pratyaya called dap. Okay. Dap ubhabhyam anyatarasyam. सूत्रद्वयोपात्ताभ्याम दाप वा स्यात्. पूर्वसूत्रद्वयम् अर्थात् मनः इति सूत्रम् अनो बहुव्रीहेः इत्येकं सूत्रम्. एतयोः उभयोः विकल्पेन दाप् प्रत्ययः भवति. अर्थात् मन्नन्तेभ्यः अन्नन्त बहुव्रीहिभ्यः च नीप् निषिद्धः. विकल्पेन इदानीं दाप् प्रत्ययः विधीयते. सीमा सीमे सीमानौ. प्रथमैकवचने एकमेव रूपं सीमा इति. द्विवचने तु भेदः दृश्यते. आकारान्तत्वे डापि सति आकारान्तत्वं सम्पद्यते. We will have the form as सीमा and the dvivachana form will be सीमे. Like Rama, Rame, Ramaha, you will have सीमा, सीमे, सीमाः. And if it is nakaranta, since this is vikalpa, dap vikalpena vidhiyate ityatah nakarantasya pakshe seema seemanau seemanaha. So you will have seeman, you add dap. Dap pratyaye dakaraha issamyakah chutu ityanena pakarasya halantam ityanena issamya ditvat tehe lopah bhavati. Since this is dit, whenever a pratyaya is dit, the T of the previous part will get deleted. Tehe ityanena tilopaha. So the an will get deleted. You have seema, seema iti akarantam prastavikam. Similarly, you have dama, dame, damanam. The word daman. Napumsi dama ityamaraha. So daman exists in Napumsakalinga and in Strilinga. Na pumsi, pumsi na bhavati. Strilinge bhavati, napumsakalinge bhavati. Strilinge daman ityasmate dap pratyaya krite dama dame damaha iti rupam. Pratyayasya abhave tu dama damanau damanaha iti rupam Strilinge. Okay. Napumsakalinge tu dama damani damani iti bhavati. So these two are examples for mannanta. Mannantebhyah नीपि निषिद्धे विकल्पेन डाप् भवति. एवमेव अन्नन्त बहुव्रीहिः बहुयज्वन् इत्यस्ति. अत्रापि डापि कृते बहुयज्वा बहुयज्वे बहुयज्वाः इति रूपम्. डापः अपि अभावे बहुयज्वा बहुयज्वानौ बहुयज्वानः इति रूपम्. The next sutra, अन उपधालोपिनोऽन्यतरस्याम् अनः उपधालोपिनः अन्यतरस्याम् इति त्रीणि पदानि सन्ति. So this sutra actually comes much later in the Ashtadhyayi order. You can see that generally in the Stree Pratyaya Prakarana we go by the order of Ashtadhyayi, because Likhita will not change the order unnecessarily. So we are going in the same order. We started with 413, 456, etc. But since this belongs to the context, he has brought a sutra forward. Ana upadhalopinonyatarasyaam iti padasya अष्टाविंशं सूत्रमस्ति. अत्रैव उपन्यस्तं दीक्षितैः. बहुव्रीहेरुधसोऽङ्गीषितः बहुव्रीहेः इत्येन वर्तते. संख्याव्ययादे नीप् इत्यतः नीप् इत्यतेन वर्तते. अन्नन्तात् बहुव्रीहेः उपन्हालोपिनः वा नीप् स्यात्. अनो बहुव्रीहेः इत्यनेन नीप् निषिद्धः. Where there is a bahuvrihi and annanta, neep, the sutra says there is no neep. This sutra says if it is annanta bahuvrihi and if it is upadhalopi. Says upadhalopi, there is a sutra allopo naha, right? Allopo naha ityanena upadhayaha akarasya lopaha vidhiyate bhasamyaya. Like you have rajyaha for rajan. राजा राजानौ राजानः राजानं राजानौ राज्ञः भगम्यायां सत्याम् उपधालोपः क्रियते. अतः एव राज्ञी इति भवति. राजन् इत्यस्मात् नीति कृते राजन् इ तिष्ठते. अल्लोपो नः इत्यनेन उपधायाः अकारस्य लोपे राज्ञी इति भवति. उपधालोपिनः अन्नन्तात्. So if there is an annanta bahuvrihi which has this upadhalopa, तदा नीत् विकल्पेन भवति. So नीप was prevented. So here it again पुनः नीप विधानमस्ति विकल्पेन. पक्षे डाप् नीप निषेधौ. So all three things apply here. First अनो बहुव्रीहेः इत्यनेन नीप निषेधः भवति. कस्य नीपः निषेधः? ऋन्नेभ्यो नीप इति प्राप्तस्य नीपः निषेधः. ततः किं प्राप्तं? डाबुभाभ्याम् अन्यतरस्याम् इत्यनेन विकल्पेन डाप् प्रत्ययः प्राप्तः. डापः अभावे अनौपधालोपिनोऽन्यतरस्याम् इत्यनेन विकल्पेन नीप् प्राप्नोति. उभयोः अभावे नकारान्तं रूपम्. So there are three forms here. One form with dap, one form with neep, and another form with no Stree pratyaya. Okay. So if there is neep, bahurajni iti रूपम्. बहवः राजानः यस्यां सा इति विग्रहे बहुराजन् यस्मात् अनौपधालोपिनोऽन्यतरस्याम् इत्यनेन विकल्पेन नीप् विधीयते. सः बहुराजन् इ. अल्लोपो नः इत्यनेन अकारस्य लोपे बहुराज्ञी इति रूपम्. डापि कृते बहुराजन् आ इति भवति. तेः इत्यनेन तिलोपे बहुराजा इति आकारान्तम्. उभयोः अभावे बहुराजन् इति नकारान्तं प्रातिपदिकम्. So the forms in prathama ekavachana will be bahurajni, bahuraja, bahuraja. Trivachane tu bahurajnyau iti ekam rupam, bahuraje iti ekam rupam, bahurajanau iti aparam rupam. Three rupani bhavanti. The three resultant forms if the annanta bahuvrihi has upadhalopa. The example which we saw earlier, bahu yajvan ityatra tu na bhavati. Kimartham na bhavati? Why does bahu yajvan not have three forms?
Because upadhalopa is not there.
Because it cannot have upadhalopa. Na sanyogad vamantat iti sutram asti. All these are sutras which we have studied in Shabdadhikara. Okay. So if there is a sanyoga ending in vakara or makara, allopaha na bhavati. Brahman ityasti makaranta sanyogaha अतः तत्र ब्रह्मणः इत्येव रूपम् उपधालोपः नास्ति. एवं यज्वन् इति वकारान्तसंयोगः तत्रापि उपधालोपः नास्ति. तो बहु यज्वन् इत्यत्र तु रूपद्वयमेव. एकं तु डाप् पक्षे एकं रूपं, लाभः नीपश्च अभावे एकं रूपम्. बहुराजन् इत्यत्र तु रूपत्रयम्. डापि एकं रूपं, नीपि एकं रूपम्, उभयोरभावे एकं रूपम्. So if it is mannanta, we will always have two forms. If it is annanta and bahuvrihi, it can either have two forms or have three forms, depending on whether we can apply a loponaha or not. Any questions?
I don't see any raised hand. I think that's why I think Bhashyakara, when he wrote a vritti on this, he said anupada lobina. Anu bahuvrihi. See, he said parisheshat. He said because vakshamana, he said in the future we are going to see anupada lobina anyatarasam. So he said so parisheshat we should be applying only to anupada lobina.
Yes. So
I don't. Yeah, but Dikshita doesn't mention that word anupada lopina, but other bhashika.
Argument anupada lopina nishedha.
Because the other one is
yes.
Because we have a specific sutra for upada lopina, right? So ana bahuvrihe applies only for anupada lopina. Parisheshat.
That is true. But there was an argument in
because all the other bhashakaras and all like vrittis like Kashika vritti and all mention the word very specifically anupada lopina.
Yes, Dikshita does not take it. Maybe there is a reason. Because Dikshita will not, I mean, his sutras are very, very precise. Always. Much more.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. That's why I was asking the question. Why he did not mention? Because it looked very, usually, I would see the similar wordings as Bhashyakara or, Vrittikara, but this one was, but this is the most confusing one also. The three forms deriving is also the most confusing.
But I think, I saw an argument regarding this in the Balamanama, whether this...
No, I read
that is about Dabhabhyam.
Yeah, he also says Vakshamanatvat.
Yes. So, there's an argument about why DAP is Vikalpa or something. There's some other related argument. I don't know, I'll have to look this up. Why?
See, other thing is Anyatarasam is for Bahubhrihi or is for Ana. See, that's also another argument I think Bhashyakara enters into.
The Stree Pratyaya is mired in all Vakyarthas. It has many cases where you start debating. There are many things in the Stree Pratyaya and the Karaka Prakarana. Both of them are actually very where there has been a lot of advanced thought put into in the Bhashya. So, as we go into layers, you find many things which, well, at least initially are very confusing. So, let us see. I'll just see if I can find out anything about this Anupadha Lopinaha. Or maybe Dikshita did not use it because he immediately puts this sutra so that there is no confusion. In case of other vrittis, the sutra comes much later. Right. So there might be, the student will not understand, the reader will not know that this is coming later. So maybe for clarity they put it, but Dikshita knew he'll put this immediately afterwards so there is no confusion. That could have been one reason because he has the facility for changing the order and he puts it right here. So,
yeah, that's why his example is very clear. Bahu Echva is Anupada Lopina. His example is very clear, but
yes. But he does not use that in the vritti because probably he thought it was not needed because there. Yes. Okay, so now we move on to a slightly different thing, that is we are actually studying the pratyaya, tap, neep, dap, etc. Now he goes to something which is not related, not the Stree Pratyaya itself, but sutra related to Prakriya. That is something else which happens when there is a Stree Pratyaya, when there is tap or dap, api. Okay. So, and this is a very important sutra in the sense that there is always a lot of confusion on this particular thing. Pratyasthat kat purvasya ata idaptisupah इति सूत्रं सप्तमाध्याये अस्ति. सप्तपदानि सन्ति. प्रत्ययस्थात् कात् पूर्वस्य अतः इत आपि असुपः. There is no anuvritti for the sutra at all. It comes in the angadikara, but the sutra is very, very clear. Pratyasthat kat purvasya ataha it api asupah, and that is also in the same order. So the sutra is very clear. Pratyasthat kat purvasya, kat nama kakarat. So pratyasthat kakarat purvasya akarasya ikarah syat api pare. Api, it includes all. Tab, lap, and jap. Saha ap supah paro nachet. Okay. So we'll take the second part later. What is asupah? So pratyasthat kakarat purvasya akarasya ikarasyad api pare. Sarvika iti udaharanam dattam. So we'll see the व्याख्यान बालमनोरमा अंडर सर्विका सर्विकेति. सर्वशब्दात् तापि सवर्णदीर्घे सर्वा शब्दः. So I have the prakriya. You have sarva, it is a sarvanama. Sarvadini sarvanamani itinena sarvanama samya अस्ति. तस्मात् स्त्रीलिङ्गे अजाद्यतष्टाप् इत्यनेन ताप् प्रत्ययः क्रियते. So you have sarva a सवर्णदीर्घः. अकस्सवर्णे दीर्घः इत्यनेन सवर्णदीर्घे कृते सर्वा इति स्त्रीलिङ्गे रूपम्. सर्वशब्दात् तापि सवर्णदीर्घे सर्वा शब्दः एकदेशस्य पूर्वान्तत्वेन ग्रहणात् सर्वनामकार्यम्. Now this sarva is also treated as sarvanama. Why? We are doing an ekadesha, which is akasavarne dirghah. Antadivaccha ityanena yoyam ekadeshah sah पूर्वस्य अंतवत् परस्य आदिवच्चस्यात् इत्यनेन पूर्वस्य अंतवत्. It is treated as an ending of sarva itself. So because of that, this will also be included as, treated as a sarvanama. Otherwise, the word sarva is not included in sarvadigana, so it would not have been a sarvanama. But atra savarnadikah kriyate ekadeshah, ekadeshasya purvantavadbhavena सर्वशब्देन ग्रहणात् सर्वा इत्यत्रापि सर्वनामसंज्ञा अस्ति. सर्वनामसंज्ञायाः तस्मात् एकादेशस्य पूर्वान्तत्वेन ग्रहणात् सर्वनामकार्यम्. ततश्च अव्ययसर्वनाम्नाम् अकच् प्राक्तेः इति तेः प्राक् अकच्. So this is a sutra तद्धित अव्ययसर्वनाम्नाम्. So for avyayas and for sarvanamas, Swarthe is atyanta swathe, the same, there is no difference in meaning. So Swarthe akach pratyayah bhavati teha prak. So before T iti atvantyadi T. The final akara will be T. So before that you have akach. So you have akach ityatra kevalam ak iti bhavati. Sarv ak a ityasti. Okay. So atra. Now let us look at the conditions. It says pratyasthat kakarat purvasya akarasya. So there should be a kakara in a pratyaya. You have akach as a pratyaya, even though it is being added in middle. That is, pratyaya is generally added after. But ayam pratyaya teha prag bhavati. Kintu ayam pratyaya akach iti swarthe tadhita pratyaya. So pratyastha kakara asti. Pratyasthat kakarat purvasya akarasya. There is an akara. Hrasvakara ataha ityasti. Hrasvakara before kakara. So sarva ak a ityasti. So you have an akara. Akarasya ikarah syat api pare. So when followed by ap, which is the akara of tap, it is converted to ikara. Okay. So the a becomes e. So the strilinga form is sarvika. Sarvakaha iti pullinge. Sarvika iti strilinge. Sarva ityaseva, it means all. Ityeva arthe sarvika iti. So this is also seen in many cases. You have balakaha, balika, etc. So pratyasthat kakarat purvasya akarasya ikarasyad api pare. Param udaharanam asti karika iti. So kariketi iti pratikya. So I didn't finish reading this. So sarvashabdat tapi savarnadirghe sarva shabdah ekadeshasya purvantattvena grahanat sarvanamakaryam. ततश्च अद्य सर्वनाम्नाम् इति तेः प्राग् अकच् तत्र ककाराद् अकारः उच्चारणार्थः चकारः इति अकच् इत्यत्र चकारः हलन्त्यम् इत्यनेन इत्संज्ञां प्राप्नोति अकारः उच्चारणार्थः सो व्हाट इज लेफ्ट इज अक् अक् इति ककारान्तः प्रत्ययः तेः प्राग् भवति सर्वका शब्देऽस्मिन् अकारात् पूर्वस्य अतः इत्वे सर्विका इति रूपम् ननु ककारात् पूर्वस्य अकारस्य कथम् इत्वं ककारेण व्यवहिततया आप् परकत्व अभावात् इति चेत् there is another question. It says api pare. So whenever we are saying this tasmin iti nirdishte purvasya, if you remember that from the Paribhasha Prakaranam, it says saptami nirdeshena vidhiyamanam karyam varnantarena avyavahitasya purvasya bodhyam. Whenever there is saptami nirdesha, the karya being indicated will be for the letter which is immediately preceding it. If you are saying iko yanachi, achi pare ikaha yanadesha, so the ik should be immediately preceding the ach. So similarly atrapi api pare iti uchyate. So the ap should be immediately preceded by the akara. The karya is being told for the akara. Akarasya itvam bhavati api pare ityate. Akarat sakshat parakatvena ap bhavet. The akara should be immediately followed by ap. Now there is a kakara in between. Right? So katham atra itvam iti prashnaha. Nanu kakarat purvasya akarasya katham itvam kakarena vyavahitataya ap parakatva abhavad iti chet yena na vyavadhanam iti nyayena tad vyavadhanasya amadhavatvat. Yena na vyavadhanam tena vyavahitepi iti paribhasha. Yena na avyavadhanam. Avyavadhanam is no separation. Na avyavadhanam. So double negation. When lack of separation is not possible at all. For the conditions of this sutra to be satisfied, the akana should be before kakara. Kat purvasya akarasya ityati uchyate. Api pare ityati uchyate. So the akara should be before kakara and it should be followed by ap. So both these conditions being satisfied simultaneously. That is having a kakara in front of it and also having an ap immediately following it is not possible. There can only be a kakara and the ap can only follow the kakara. So therefore, yena na avyavadhanam. When the lack of separation, when avyavahita purvasya is not possible, so vyavadhane api bhavati iti paribhasha. It's a very obvious paribhasha. Otherwise the sutra would go waste because it cannot apply at all. Both conditions cannot be satisfied simultaneously. The akara cannot be followed both by kakara and ap simultaneously. So yena na vyavadhanam tena vyavahita api ityanena vyavahita parakatvam api vikriyate. So that is about sarvika. The next example he gives is karika. So kariketi. Kriyaha null. Kri dhatuhu. Tasmat null pratyayah kriyate. Kru vu ityasti. Akadeshah. Yoranakau ityanena vu ityasya sthane aka iti adeshah bhavati. So kru aka ityasti. Achonyati iti rikarasya vruddhihi raparatvam. So the kru, the rikara gets vruddhi followed by urandaparaha. So you have ar, kar, aka ityasti. So karaka shabdat tap. Now in Strilinga you add tap. Karaka a. Savarna dirghe karaka ityasti. Kat purvasya rephadakarasya. So in karaka you have kar, a, k, a. So the akara preceding the kakara satya itvam bhavati. So you get karika iti rupam. So that is karika and sarvika. So in both cases, in all such cases, as I said in balika, etc., you have the same situation where you have a kakara of the pratyaya. Tatra swarthe ka pratyaya, balika, etc. Balaka iti bhavati. Ka iti pratyaya. So tatra pratyasthan kakarat purvasya akarasya itve balika iti rupam. So that is about the sutra. The sutrartha is clear. Now he takes up dalakritya. Dalakrityam asti. Ataha kim nauka. Ataha nama अकारात् अकारस्यैव इत्वं भवति प्रत्ययस्थात् प्रकारात् पूर्वस्य अकारस्यैव इत्वं भवति इति उच्यते किमर्थम् इति चेत् नौका इति अर्थम् नौ शब्दात् स्वार्थकः कः यु हाव् द वर्ड् नौ तस्मात् स्वार्थे कप् प्रत्ययः भवति नौक इत्यस्ति सो दिस् इस् ए स्वार्थे कप् प्रत्ययः प्रत्ययस्थात् ककारात् पूर्वत्र औकारः अस्ति तापि परे औकारस्य इत्वं न भवेत् केवलम् अकारस्यैव इत्वं भवेत् इत्यतः अतः इति उच्यते प्रत्ययस्थात् किम् प्रत्ययस्थात् कात् पूर्वस्यैव अकारस्य इत्वं भवति इति उच्यते किमर्थम् इति चेत् शक्नोति इति शका अस्ति शक्नोति शक्ल शक्तौ इति धातुः दिस् इस् अ शक् धातु and it gets ach pratyaya by nandigrahipatadibhyo uninyatah we have shak a now here the kakara belongs to the dhatu it does not belong to the pratyaya धातोः ककारः प्रत्ययः केवलम् अकारः सो अत्र ककारात् पूर्वस्य अकारस्य इत्वं न भवेत् इति तदर्थं प्रत्ययस्थात् इति पदम् प्रत्ययस्थ ककारात् पूर्वस्यैव अकारस्य इत्वं भवति असुपः किं बहुपरिव्राजका नगरी तद् असुपः इति निषेधः अस्ति सः आप सुपः परो न चेत् इति दत्तं लिखितैः किमर्थम् इति चेत् बहुपरिव्राजका नगरी उच्यते look at the व्याख्यान for that बहुपरिव्राजका परिपूर्वात् व्रजेः नुल् so first you have to derive the word परिव्राजका right? we have prari and vraj धातुः तस्मात् नुल् प्रत्ययः भवति नूलः अकादेशः so we have परि व्रज अक अतौपधायाः इत्यनेन वृद्धौ परिव्राजक इति रूपम् परिपूर्वात् व्रजेः नुल् बहवः परिव्राजकः यस्याम् इति बहुव्रीहिः so you get the word परिव्राजक now you do a बहुव्रीहि samasa saying बहवः परिव्राजकाः यस्याम् इति बहुव्रीहिः so you get बहु परिव्राजक and on the samasa you are adding tap right supah luki so you get बहु just परिव्राजक just सुपोधातु प्रातिपदिकयोः इत्यनेन सुब्लुकि बहुपरिव्राजक इत्यस्ति तस्मात् टाप् प्रत्ययः क्रियते सुपो लुकि बहुपरिव्राजक शब्दात् टाप् अत्र अकारस्य कात् पूर्वस्य इत्वं न नौ इफ् यु लुक् एट् दिस् बहुपरिव्राजक आ इति क्रियते सवर्णदीर्घे कृते बहुपरिव्राजका इति जातम् इदानीं ककारः प्रत्ययस्थः इट् इस् ओरिजिनली डिरैव्ड् फ्रम् अक आफ् नुल् नुल् प्रत्ययस्य स्थाने अकादेशः तस्य ककारः सो प्रत्ययस्थात् ककारात् पूर्वस्य अतः बहुपरिव्राज इति जकारोत्तरः अकारः अस्ति आपि परे इत्वं स्यात् इति इत्वापत्तिः अत्र अकारस्य कात् पूर्वस्य इत्वं न भवति किमर्थं प्रत्ययलक्षणेन आपः सुबपेक्षया परत्वात् so now प्रत्ययलक्षण we deleted the sup बहु just परिव्राजका just the just of परिव्राजका has been deleted by supodhatu pratipadikayoh so we use pratyalope pratyalakshanam and bring back that sup so what do we have here we have bahu just परिव्राजका just and then tap so saha aap supah paratvena asti the tap is after sup so saha aap supah paro na chet supah iti uktatvat atra na bhavati iत्यर्थः अत्र अकारस्य कात् पूर्वस्य इत्वं न प्रत्ययलक्षणेन आपः सुबपेक्षया परत्वात् नलुमता इति निषेधस्तु न so then he says नलुमताङ्गस्य इति निषेधः अस्ति किल अङ्गकार्यकर्तव्ये प्रत्ययलक्षणं नास्ति and this is an अङ्गकार्य so he says नलुमताङ्गस्य इति निषेधस्तु न तस्य लुमता लुप्ते प्रत्यये यदङ्गं तस्य कार्ये एव प्रवृत्तेः so the nalumatangasya applies when the anga it says what anga karye kartavye lumata luptam pratyalakshana aniyate so the anga to be treated here is the anga for the deleted pratyaya the pratyaya you are deleting here is just okay so just pratyaya angam bhavati parivrajaka right so parivrajaka is the anga for just yasmat pratyaya vidhi radit pratyayangam So परिव्राजक शब्दात् आदौ जस् प्रत्ययः विहितः अतः परिव्राजक इति जस् प्रत्यये अङ्गम् तापि अङ्गम् the karya which we are doing now is an anga karya for tap. The tap pratyaya has been put on bahuparivrajaka and not just parivrajaka. Bahuparivrajaka iti samasat tap pratyayah kritah. Atah atra angam bhavati bahuparivrajaka iti. So the anga for the deleted pratyaya is only parivrajaka, where the anga karya we are doing now is bahuparivrajaka. Right? That is the anga. Atah nalumatangasya iti nishedhastu na तस्य लुमता लुप्ते प्रत्यये यदंगम तस्य कार्ये एव प्रवृत्तेः इत्वं तु तापि अनांग कार्यम् इति न अत्र तन्निषेधः तापि अनांग कार्यम्
See, this is the doubt I had. I had marked it in my Balamanorama. How do you determine which is Angakaryam and which is this thing? Is it the Adhikara?
Yes, yes. Angasya ityadhikarah. So this is 7.3, right?
Yeah.
It applies from 6.4.1 to 7.4. And also, even if it does not belong to the Angakarya, there are some cases where tasmin pratyaye pare iti uchyate. So where sometimes the pratyaya is indicated, that is, you get it by adhyahara that there should be a pratyaya. So even in that cases, we take it as Angakarya. Okay, so say there are some cases where even when there is a pratyaya, I mean some karya for the Ashtamadhyaya, we treat it as Angakarya because it requires a pratyaya and it applies for the Anga. Arthataha api Angatvam svikriyate, Adhikarena api Angatvam svikriyate. Both those are there.
So in this case, how do you justify the statement? Itvam tu ta itvam tu tapi anangakaryam. He says it's not angakaryam.
It should
have
actually be
been
tapi angakaryam.
Angakaryam. So na tatra
Because it says, the previous statement says,
right.
tasya lumata lukte pratyaya yadangam tasya karye. So lumata luktah pratyayah just pratyayah. So tasmin angam bhavati parivrajaka. So the argument he is making here is, the angakarya is not for the deleted, the anga of the deleted pratyaya. The anga here is different.
Right.
So it comes to tapi angakaryam. I am not sure.
Because I highlighted this statement, I wanted to ask an explanation for that. And if you,
it does not sound right from the previous statement. This does not follow from the previous statement. He should have said it comes to tapi angakaryam iti na atra tannishedha. So this is an angakarya for tap and not for just. And that is why atra nalumatangasya iti nishedha na bhavati. That is the argument he is making. But I don't see why he says tapi anangakaryam. It does not make sense.
But if you take the whole thing as a paridasa, asupaha, which means not having a anything other than sup. So then in that case, then the whole samudaya, whole samudaya if you take, then asupa has a paridasa thing telling that then blank is anything other than sup or not having sup.
Not having sup. That's
you
cannot.
Then it will apply.
No, then you cannot prevent tap. If you use supaha as paryudasa, then you cannot prevent tap. So that is why, that is a different argument. But this argument does not, I mean, tape anangakaryam does not make sense. Either it is, I mean, it seems either it is a typing error or Balamanorama has made a.
Actually, you can also say the antaranga bahiranga thing, and I think somewhere that was also mentioned.
Okay. But the argument he is putting is that there is no nalumatangasya will not apply here. So the akara here or the tap here is preceded by sup. You bring the sup or the just pratyaya, deleted just pratyaya by pratyaya lakshana, and so asupaha nishedha will apply, and there is no itva. That is the final point he makes. So I'll just look this up.
I have a question from Sadagopanji. Just one second. Let me unmute him. Sadagopanji, you are unmuted. Please go ahead.
See, we have got the sutra, Pratyaya Lope Pratyaya Lakshanam. After that comes the Vyoma-samskrta-pathasala. Now the Pratyaya which is Lopa is the sup, is it gas or something like that. So that is not doing any karya now. There is no Anga karya is now being done because that Pratyaya which is look, that nimittam no karya is being done.
Yes, the anga for that the deleted pratyaya is not getting the karya. This is a complete different thing, and
Yes,
that is why
it
the
doesn't.
nishedha will not apply. Nalumatangasya will not apply here. That is the argument of Balamanoramakara. But I mean, we are just debating both his statement. He says tapi ananga karyam. So that that word does not make sense in this context.
The top, whatever you are doing talking, that is not Anga karyam for that pratyaya.
He says tapi ananga karyam. Supi ananga karyam. This is not the anga karya for the deleted sup. But for tap, this is still the anga karya. Api pare. Yad angam asti tasyeva. Or maybe he is saying it is not an anga karya. Tapi ananga karyam. Or he is saying that pratyasthakat is not an anga karya at all. But then, I mean, if he is saying that pratyasthakat is not an anga karya, then the previous statement need not be there. Nalumatangasya iti nishedhastu na tasya lumata lukte pratyaye yadangam. If we just say this is not an anga karya, that would be over. The previous statement does not make sense. If he says this is not an anga karya for tap. He is saying lumata lukte pratyaye yadangam tasya karya eva pravrittehe. Which means that this is not an anga for that pratyaya. That is the point he is trying to make. So if he is saying this is not an anga karya, then the previous statement need not be there. So there is some confusion here.
So, sorry, I didn't really follow. So, what is the objection now raised? Because you said tapi, that is not the anga. But what is the...
No. What I am saying is, I mean, the argument is the Lumatangasya iti nishedha will apply when there is an anga karya, and the anga karya is for the anga of the deleted pratyaya. Okay. Now,
Yes.
we are doing an anga karya, which is tapi pare yadangam tasya karyam kriyate. We are doing a anga karya on the anga of tap and not the anga of sup. And that is why Nalumatangasya iti nishedha atra na pravartate iti vaktavyam. So that is what he intends to say. That is what I assume he intends to say. If he is saying that, why is he saying tapi ananga karyam? Is my question.
because there are two angas, we are getting that doubt. That's the
He could have said jasi ananga karyam. That would have made sense.
anga karyam for
It
the
is not
two.
an anga karya for the supi ananga. If we had either said supi ananga karyam or jasi ananga karyam, that would have made sense. Why does he say tapi ananga karyam?
We will still think it is supi ananga karyam if he says supi. Because the anga karyam is definitely before the supi. Will we not ask the same question at the time? If he says supi anga karyam, definitely it is anga karyam. It is just before sup it is coming. So probably he thought this is better. Tapi, which anga karyam we are doing, which is not anga karyam in the sense of what should be applicable in the sense of na Lumatangasya. Sorry, maybe quite more. Thank you.